You ready, Marvin? Wesley, you ready? All right, well, good evening. I really want to thank everyone for being here. For those that don't know me, I am Fred Watson. I am a circuit court judge in Lynchburg, and I am the judge who presides over the Lynchburg Adult Treatment Drug Court. I'm often asked by people whether drug courts work and whether they are effective. Well, I can tell you they're not effective for everyone, but they are effective for a lot of people. And for the people that they are effective, they are life-changing. And today we're celebrating 5 individuals whose lives have changed through their participation in drug court. And the drug court gave them the tools to succeed, but most of the success is a result of their hard work and efforts, and more importantly, their desire to change. And we're here to celebrate that, and I'm so happy to have you guys with us here. Marvin, Wesley, Jeremiah, is Kimani here? All right. With us here are Marvin, Wesley, and Jeremiah. Kimani and Jaquan could not make it, but those are the 5 people who are graduating from our drug court. And I'll tell you, each one of you, I could not be happier and I could not be prouder of you. Now, let me say this about drug court. It is not easy. It is a big commitment on anyone who agrees to participate in drug court. And it is completely voluntary. No one is forced to do it. They have to want to do it, and they have to commit to doing everything that we require of them. And it is time consuming. They have to keep a lot of appointments throughout the week with their treatment providers, probation. They're routinely and often drug tested. And then they have to come to court. And during the first phases of drug court, they're coming to court twice a month. And at our court proceedings, we celebrate their successes. If there are setbacks or problems, we deal with those. And so it is a lot of work. And so to get here today is no small thing. It is the result of a lot of hard work. And I want to recognize the work, Marvin, Wesley, Jeremiah, that you have put into this. I never lost sight of that fact. And some people think that maybe going to drug court is a way to avoid jail, to kick the can down the road. But I will tell you, we have drug court participants through our sanctions in the drug court maybe have spent more nights in jail than they would have had they just pled guilty, been convicted, and went about their way. There's one who is here with us tonight, I know, and maybe 2, who had to spend some nights in jail as sanctions. And so it's not a consequence-free option. There are a lot of consequences for participating in drug court. But as long as you're willing to put in the work and what I tell every participant in drug court, there are 2 things I expect of you. I expect you to try, to work hard, and I expect you to be honest. If you try, and if you're honest, then that goes a long way with us in the drug court. And we will deal with all the other setbacks, and we do deal with them. And how we deal with them comes from experience, and we learn every day that we have our drug court. Now, we have some special guests with us here this evening, and I'm so appreciative of their attendance. First, we have Congressman Bob Goode. We have Delegate Wendell Walker, Judge Ed Burnett. For those of you who don't know, Judge Ed Burnett was the founder and the first presiding judge of this drug court. We have Anna Powers. She's the specialty docket coordinator with the Virginia Supreme Court, and you wouldn't believe the number of dockets that she coordinates. We have Melissa Lucy, the CEO of Horizon. Is Mr. Benda here? Okay. We have Todd Swisher. He is the clerk of the Lynchburg Circuit Court. We have Sheriff Sloan, and Major Carter from the Lynchburg Sheriff's Department. And let me see, we have Kelly Poe. Where's Kelly? I know I saw her. Kelly is the Chief Probation and Parole Officer for the Lynchburg area, and we rely so much on the Probation and Parole Office. Have I forgotten anyone so far? All right. Oh, well, I'm going to get to her. Yes, but now, to give you a little background on our drug court, it started in 2017 under the leadership of Judge Burnett and the rest of the team that was put together at that time. When I took over the drug court in 2020, I was very fortunate to inherit that team. That team was in place, and it is an all-star team. They are all, I wouldn't trade one of them. We'll start with Bethany Harrison, the Commonwealth Attorney for the city of Lynchburg, and I will say this about drug court. If your Commonwealth Attorney is not on board, you will not have a successful drug court. And Bethany is on board, and she is a major part of this team. And I will tell you, when I took over the drug court, I think she anticipated my lack of experience and knowledge, and she was one of the first people to contact me and provide me information on how drug court worked. And she helped me slowly but surely get up to speed, and I want to thank her for that. We have another part of our team, and someone else I didn't recognize, Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone is the public defender for the city of Lynchburg, and if your public defender is not on board, they're the ones who help identify the potential participants, and Aaron's office is invaluable. And from his office, as part of our team, is Brad Lindsay. Brad is a committed public defender, and he is a conscientious attorney and a zealous advocate for his clients, and he helps keep us all in check. And Brad, we certainly appreciate that. Everything I've ever learned about drug treatment, I learned from Rhonda Turner. Where's Rhonda? Rhonda is with Horizon, and she is the part of our team that is responsible for the treatment. And Rhonda, she knows more about drug treatment than just about anybody. And whenever I have a question, she always has the answer. And so I appreciate that. Another person who, I will say this, I'm often the public face of the drug court, but I probably do the least amount of work. Rhonda and her team, and then we have Lydia. Lydia Baber is a probation officer, senior probation officer, and she is responsible for supervising most of the participants in the drug court. And I think Marvin had asked me, he said, is Lydia coming today? They all get to know Lydia very well, and they learn, maybe slowly, but surely, to appreciate her. And then we're very fortunate as a drug court that we do something that a lot of drug courts do not do. I require each of our participants to meet regularly with a peer support specialist. And we're fortunate to have maybe the best peer support specialist around, and that's Carl Mack. Carl is with the Virginia Department of Health, and our participants meet with Carl regularly. We tell them they have to call Carl on Mondays in case anything happened over the weekends. And Carl is, I'm not sure that we would be nearly as successful as you are without Carl being part of our team. Someone who I don't overlook, but I don't think anybody overlooks her. I think everyone appreciates the value that she brings. That's Lee Lively. Lee is a mitigation specialist with the Public Defender's Office. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Michael Clayton. The character he's basically a fixer, a troubleshooter. And that's what Lee does. If there's a problem, Lee will figure out how to fix it. And she has helped people overcome some major obstacles. I mean, major life obstacles, transportation, housing, very significant things. And we couldn't do what we do without Lee. So thank you, Lee. Lieutenant Black, Lieutenant Dan Black with the Lynchburg Police. Is it still Lieutenant? Captain. Oh, Captain. I don't know why I thought Lieutenant.
I just promoted myself.
Well, I was an enlisted guy in the Army, so any officer intimidates me. So Captain Black, I don't interact with Captain Black as much as I do with a lot of the other team, but he's still an important part of the team because they help whenever someone is identified as a potential participant in drug court. The police department helps review to make sure that they are appropriate participants, and so we appreciate that. And then I told you that I inherited a team. There was one opening that I did not inherit, and we had an opening for a drug court coordinator, and so I will take some credit for hiring our drug court coordinator, and that's Taylor Jones. And Taylor has taken this job and made it so much more than I ever expected that it could have been. And Taylor is a superstar. So, and she's largely responsible for a lot of what we're doing today. Now, those are the official members. Did I miss any members of the drug court? And that doesn't include the members of our clerk's office. Carrie Pribble is in our clerk's office, and then Brittany Rhodes, and then our deputy bailiffs. We have some of them here today. We have Deputy Brandon and Deputy Cole, and the other deputy bailiffs. We couldn't do what we do without them. And then we have some unofficial members, and I say they're unofficial only because I don't know how to make them official. And they've been part of the drug court longer than I have, and let me go ahead and introduce them. Where's Molly? Molly McLennan. She is with the Lynchburg League of Women Voters, and she has been part of the drug court, and she is at every drug court. And when we need things, whether it's gifts that we give to our participants as incentives or bus passes or anything like that, they are always right there to help us. We also have Dr. Brenda Farmer. Dr. Farmer is with the Lynchburg NAACP, and like Molly, they're usually sitting there right next to each other. And so when I walk out on the bench for drug court, the first thing I do is I kind of look, are they here? And they always are there. And Dr. Farmer, like Molly, if we need bus passes, if we need anything, they are always open to help us in any way that we need it. And so I just want you to, even though you're not official, I still consider you part of the team. And again, I probably don't say thank you enough, and I want to thank both of you. Now, at this time, I'd like to bring up someone who I've known for a long time, and she is, I consider a very special guest. She's one of my favorite people. She is with Horizon. She's wore many hats at Horizon. Right now, she is the coordinator for the crisis intervention team. And if you'll see any police officers or deputies walking around, you'll see a lot of them have a CIT button on. And Deborah is responsible for a lot of these officers having that training. Recently, and you probably don't know I read this, but she was described in the paper as a remarkable woman. And then at a recent event I was at, one of the speakers described her as the bomb. I do consider Deborah the bomb. And so, Deborah, if you could come forward and say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I would like to thank the Lynchburg Drug Court for asking me to come and to share a few words. So I was surprised and very honored when I walked in here today, and one of the people that's graduating today is like my family. So I was just like, oh, thank you, God. So what I'm going to talk about is I work for Horizon Behavioral Health, and I am a person who has been blessed with the gift of long-term recovery. 28 years. And I am very transparent about that. And what I would like to do this evening is to, first of all, congratulate you. But I also want to make clear that certainly recovery is possible. But the completion of drug court, you have not arrived. There's still work to do. And I encourage you to whatever path that you're on, to stay on that path and to use your network, your support system, you know? And when things are looking a little crazy, or you might be having a little stinky thinking that it's okay for me to try it one more time, reach out to somebody first, okay? This is a major milestone. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my story. It wasn't no drug court 28 years ago. So I wasn't blessed with that part of the opportunity. But I was certainly blessed with treatment. And my story is that I have now been with Horizon 24 years. And I went to treatment at what was then Central Virginia Community Services. I went to treatment, and I went to treatment in handcuffs and shackles. And I left treatment in handcuffs and shackles. But in my process of those 28 days, which God knows I wish we could provide that again for people, but that's another soapbox. I was ready to surrender. I was ready to change my life, and most of all, y'all, I was tired. I was tired of the way I was living. Sure, I was a college graduate, but this disease does not discriminate. It doesn't make a difference who your mama is, who your daddy is, what neighborhood you may live in, how much education you may or may not have, what church you go to. None of that matters. And so, when I was blessed to go to treatment, one of the main things that gave me hope was when the therapist said to me, "Deborah, you're not a bad person, but under the influence and trying to get one more, you do some awfully bad things." And I was on probation. Couldn't stand that probation officer. But she's now one of my best friends. You know, it's amazing how with change, clarity and relationships change. And so I needed to have the opportunity to change my life and to get better. And it's amazing how, now if you struggle with the word God, I'm sorry, but I don't struggle with it at all. But what I do know is that the things that have occurred in my life, only through the grace of God have these things occurred. Now, they said to you that I'm the Crisis Intervention Team Coordinator. So I work with police and first responders and mental health people and all of that. And what I say to them in every class is only God could put me in this position and this opportunity because I ran from the police for 25 years, all right? Just being real. So through the change in my life, I've been blessed to have the opportunity to give back and to work in my passion, and I believe my purpose. To reach out to people, try to give them a shot of hope, and to be able to say, you know, I've been there, done that, it can get better. And Marvin, how many times I know I've said that to you? We can't even count them. But it has gotten better. Be encouraged. Hold on to this gift. How much time I got?
You're at 7.5.
Okay. This is a gift. And it can maintain and stay a gift as long as you treat it that way. It takes some responsibility with this thing, with this gift. Okay? Be encouraged. You can do this. Because what I know is, if a street urchin like me can do this and hold on to it and treat it as a gift and be responsible every day for my recovery. Certain things I know I'm clear that I can't do. I had a supervisor one time, and we were out, and he said to me, "You gonna have a drink, Deborah?" And he didn't know. And I said, "Am I a good employee?" He said, "Yeah, you're fabulous." I said, "Well, you don't want me to take a drink because I don't do things like come to work and be responsible if I put any mood-altering substances in me. I change, and it's not good usually." So I encourage you, graduates, this is a major milestone. Hold on to it. And when you're feeling a little troubled, reach out to this wonderful team or your network in recovery, you know? But most of all, it's like Judge Watson say, honesty is the key. Got to be honest with yourself and with others. So I congratulate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Deborah talked about treatment, and one of the things I neglected to say, and I probably should point this out, is that we are very fortunate in that Horizon recently applied for and received a grant in the amount of $2 million over 4 years for the purpose of expanding the treatment option for the participants in our drug court, and that is huge. And I want to thank Horizon for that. And because of that, we have new people coming on to the treatment team. We have John, we have Joan, and then we have Joe. Where's Joe? And there's Joe. So they are just coming onto the team, and I look forward to working with all of you. Our next speaker is Congressman Bob Goode. I can only imagine the demands on a congressman's time, and so the fact that he would take some of that precious time to be with us really means a lot, Congressman. We do appreciate it. Congressman Goode represents, I think it's the 5th Congressional District, and before he was in Congress, he was on the Campbell County Board of Supervisors for 4 years, is that right? And so he's seen the problems that we face at the local level, and now he sees them at the national level. And so without further ado, Congressman Goode.
Thank you so much for letting me be with you tonight. I'm finishing my first term, and we just got Lynchburg in our district, and I don't know if that was part of the reason why I got invited to participate tonight. But I will tell you, that's a special privilege to me because I grew up in Lynchburg, and we are all a reflection of those who've poured into our lives, invested in our lives. The good things or the blessings or the positive developments in our lives are because people invested in us and helped us and influenced us. And the struggles that we've had or the bad choices that we've made or the valleys in our lives are also tend to be a reflection of things that were beyond our control to some degree, circumstances, environments, people who maybe were not a good influence upon our lives. But it's a privilege to me to represent Lynchburg and to be here downtown tonight. I grew up not far from here. I went to T.C. Miller Elementary School. I don't know if anybody else went to T.C. Miller Elementary School, but that's kind of near City Stadium, between Memorial and Ford Avenue. But I grew up from a very humble, low-income background. I know what it's like to be on food stamps. I know what it's like to be on free lunch at school when most people aren't on free lunch at school. I know what it's like not to have a car in your family and have to walk everywhere, to have groceries left on your porch. But I also grew up learning to work, and I was raised in a Christian home, and there were people who poured into my life to help me along the way. And I just say that for our graduates tonight. It's wonderful to be part of this event, and it's a privilege. You're not often, in whatever you do professionally, at least what I get to do, that you're part of an event that commemorates a change in someone's lives. And while Ms. Jefferson said, hey, this is not the end of the journey, it's a lifelong journey for all of us. This is a huge step, and it really is a privilege. Thank you, Judge Watson, for inviting me to be part of this event here tonight. To see the investment paying off that people have made and the choices that people have made to be part of what's happening here tonight. May is Drug Court Month, and we're honoring tonight, of course, the work of drug courts in saving lives and investing in the long-term recovery of individuals represented by being here tonight. And it does take a community, and I would just encourage our graduates. This room is full tonight because there are many who care about what's happening tonight. There are many who care about our graduates tonight. There's family members and friends who love you and care about you, and then there are others who poured into your situation to help you to get to where you are to be here tonight. And so I just commend and congratulate our graduates for your determination to take responsibility for your life and to make good choices and to help set your life on the direction that you would like it to be. I would encourage you, it's already been touched on by Ms. Jefferson tonight, that I don't know where you are spiritually, I don't know what your faith situation is, but I do know that God loves all of us. God loves you. God has a purpose for your life. God has designed you for the use that He has planned for you. And I don't know where you are from a church standpoint, but I would encourage you to make prayer a central part of your life, to make God's Word the foundation of your life, and to connect to a local church community if you have not. And if you have, to be faithful to that, because that is critical for all of our life's journeys. It's that spiritual component, that spiritual connection is critical, and it's foundational. And this tonight, by completing the program, and again, I congratulate you for that, it has helped to give you a chance for your future as you begin again. And, you know, it's not easy to do what you've done. It's not easy to turn away from addiction, but you're demonstrating courage and resolve to be where you are tonight. And as a born-again Christian, again, I want to just encourage you spiritually to seek to fulfill God's calling upon your life, God's purpose upon your life, because everything that He allows to happen in our lives, He desires to draw us closer to Him and to allow us to be used to influence others because of the journey that we've been through. So again, this graduation tonight demonstrates or marks the end of a step in our path, but it's not the end of our path. It just helps put us, it's a commemorative occasion to mark and to look back and reflect upon tonight as a key moment in that journey. So I look forward to seeing how you will positively impact your community, and that we can look back and celebrate tonight as a critical step on this journey. So thank you for letting me be part of it, Judge. Thank you, and God bless all of you who've poured into the lives represented here tonight. And my prayer is for each graduate here tonight that God will use you in a wonderful way in the days ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman Goode. We used to play T-ball over at T.C. Miller all the time, so I've spent a lot of time over there. My grandfather lived near there, and so we probably walked a lot of the same streets and alleyways. Our next speaker is Delegate Wendell Walker. Let me say this. I did know that Lynchburg was now as part of your congressional district, but you would have been invited anyway. Well, the fellow who was representing, he lives an hour away in Roanoke. Right.
I was closer by anyway.
Right. Yeah. And Delegate Walker, I know they've realigned. Is it still the 23rd House District?
Currently, yes, sir.
Okay. So Delegate Walker represents Virginia's 23rd House District, which also includes the city of Lynchburg. When did you go in? You went in 2019. And as many of you may know, being a delegate in the House of Delegates is supposed to be a part-time job. But it always seems to me that it requires full-time hours. So I know that there's a lot that goes into that, and we do appreciate what you do for us. So I'd like to bring Delegate Walker now to say a few words.
Thank you, Judge, and thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. You know, we get opportunities as elected officials to attend a lot of different events, meetings, ceremonies, things like that. But I consider this a joyous celebration when we can come to an event like this and celebrate winners, because that's what you are tonight. You've gone through this drug treatment plan, and you've come out on the positive side here. As my friend here, Congressman Bob Goode, was saying, there's nothing impossible when Christ is in the center of it. And Mrs. Jefferson, you as well, I could tell you had the joy of the Lord just by speaking. So that's nothing to be ashamed of, folks, because that's a very important part of life. But what you have done, you have made a commitment. But there's still a challenge ahead of you. So you got on first base, you got to get around the other bases, to score here. But at least you have started the right process here. And let me tell you something else you're going to have tonight. Just like I saw in Miss Jefferson here, God is giving you a testimony. Instead of sitting in a jailhouse, He's giving you an opportunity to overcome an addiction, problems that you've had. And now your responsibility is to go out and share that we can believe in society, that there is hope. We believe in second chances, just like Christ did. I mean, if it wasn't for Christ, would we have chances every day in our life? So life is a walk by faith, and I'm not going to give you a sermon tonight, even though I'm going to a prayer meeting when I leave here. So Bob, this is our life. This is my 5th meeting for today, so I'll be glad when the sun goes down. But let me go back to Judge Burnett. Judge, I want to thank you for the vision that you had, because nothing ever happens apart from a vision. When I think about how I was involved with Liberty University back in the 70s when it was just getting started, and the vision that he had there, your vision made this possible for, 17 or 20 already to complete, plus you tonight. So you're to be commended, for that vision and willing to step out here. We, on our side, the federal and the state side, we're here to help fund and make sure these programs, move forward with you. But it's a team effort, and this is your team out here. This is your support team that's going to walk with you, that's going to be with you. I don't know if all of you are, but most of you will be there in case you stumble or in case you fall, to lift you up, to be that encouragement. And then Judge Watson, thank you, for continuing this program here and making it possible. And programs like this, can't happen without legislators that support money. We bring money back into the localities for Horizon and others to help make this possible for you. So we have our job responsibility is looking out for all citizens in the Commonwealth here. I don't represent all of Lynchburg, probably about 3/4 of it. But it's a joy to represent everybody in the Commonwealth. I'm not just a local legislator. I consider myself as an individual who cares about Virginia and making sure we take care of every single individual in the Commonwealth of Virginia, because that's the kind of love that God has for all of us. So we can be that encouragement, we can be that motivator out here. And so what you've accomplished is really a great task. And certainly without the Commonwealth Attorney and others, like I say, this is a great team that you have working for you here. We'd rather you be here tonight celebrating than to sitting in a jailhouse, because it costs a lot of money to build jails and to deal with people like that. So this is what you have here, is an opportunity to go out and share. Thank God there's people in Lynchburg that love me, that care enough to give me a second chance. So from the legislative, the judicial, all of us, we're working together as a team here. And we're here to help you and to encourage you along the way. So without going on much further, the Congressman shared a lot about faith, and that's really what life is. I would encourage you, if you don't know the Lord, trust the Lord and begin that discipleship, because that's what you need. You need that encouragement. You need somebody to hold your hand and to walk with you along that path here. And that's what we're here to do. So what I can say tonight is that I'm thankful that you allow me to be part of this. Whatever fundings that we need to continue to do to help support and expand this in other localities. I don't know if there's any other judicial systems doing this. But anyway, that's what we're here to do. So folks, if you've made a commitment, you're winners. Don't look back, look forward. Congratulations. God bless you.
Delegate Walker, thank you so much. And you brought up a good point. You said you didn't know if there were other courts, and it's probably an omission on my part. I should point this out. We have an adult drug treatment court in Lynchburg. There is a family treatment court in the Bedford J&D court with Judge Ayers. The Nelson County Circuit Court with Judge Mike Doucette has just been approved to have its own adult drug treatment court. And I was the circuit court judge in Nelson County when I first went to the bench, and there really is a need for it. And I'm so glad to see that Nelson County is going to have that. And I know that there's talk about having a behavioral health docket in the Lynchburg General District Court. I'm not sure where that stands, but when we talk about specialty dockets, and I told you that Anna Powers supervises a lot of specialty dockets, that includes not just the drug court, but includes the behavioral health dockets, the veterans dockets, the family drug dockets, and all of these have their own success in one way or the other. Obviously the veterans dockets are very successful in places where you have a lot of veterans, down near Norfolk and Northern Virginia, places like that. Another thing I would say is that I think it was entirely appropriate to recognize the vision of Judge Burnett. Without Judge Burnett's vision, we probably wouldn't have the drug court. I do pretty good at picking up the ball after someone else has started. I'm not so sure how effective I would have been at trying to start the drug court. So I'm so thankful that he did the heavy lifting. I think most of you probably know Judge Burnett. Those of you who don't, he, during his career as a judge, served on the bench for over 18 years. That included many years on the Lynchburg General District Court, among other general district courts, and the Lynchburg Circuit Court. As a practicing attorney, I had plenty of opportunities to appear before Judge Burnett. I won some, I lost some, but I always found him to be eminently patient and fair. And so I thought it appropriate, and I think everyone on the team thought it would be appropriate to bring Judge Burnett back, to have him give our keynote address, because he is so important to this drug court being in existence and any success that we have. He is has a large part of the responsibility for that success. So, Judge Burnett, if you come forward, please.
I didn't deserve that. I accept it. I'm grateful, but I'll, as Judge Watson candidly agreed, I was the face of the drug court, but there were a lot of people working in the team that he already introduced you to that I will not repeat in respect for your patience and your attention this evening really made this happen. And this is a community effort, the grassroots that sprung up. And on behalf of all of those people, I will accept that recognition and share it with those that deserve it. I am honored to be here with the graduates. This night is so important, and I know it's special to you and your families. And I am honored to be with you, to share this evening with you. You picked a much tougher road. It'd have been a heck of a lot easier to take your time, sit in the jail, watch TV, have 3 squares, and get out. But you chose a much challenging path, and one that with consequences. And that's one of the things that these specialty courts that deal with underlying problems do that other courts don't. I mean, judges a lot of times are compared to umpires. We call balls and strikes. You win, you lose, next case. We adjudicate. That is how most traditional courts work. But guess what? When you deal with an underlying problem of a substance abuse disorder, that model doesn't work. We can't incarcerate our way through that problem. We can't incarcerate our way out of that problem. Doesn't work. I had people before me that I was seeing more frequently than some members of my family. I was on a first-name basis with them, loved them, but they could not stay clean and sober. And so they saw me a lot. And I personally dealt with addiction with a family member. And I know how powerful it is. I didn't fully appreciate how powerful it was until I had a family member. And I came home one evening, as I typically did after work. That family member was on the floor, passed out. Not unusual. Not unusual at all. Family member was on the floor, passed out, holding an empty bottle. That also was not unusual. What was unusual this time was my loved one was on the floor, holding a bottle, was empty, rubbing alcohol. That's when I realized addiction was not something that someone did to feel good. That may be how it starts out, to feel good. But then addiction takes over and you do it so you don't feel bad. Am I getting this right? And there's a difference. There is a huge difference. And that loved one struggled. And that loved one died. That's why I'm in this game. That's why it's important to me. And that's why it's worth the effort that everyone has their own reason for doing this. That's mine. That's mine. I just wanted to do something that I knew had a better chance of working than putting somebody in jail again and again. And we don't have a 100% success rate. The success rate was when I left around 44%. I don't know what the rate is now, but that was about the success rate then. So that's why y'all are to be commended. It's tough. It's tough. But y'all have done and come out and done the heavy lifting. When we got together, it was interesting because when you think about the list of people that Judge Watson listed that were at that table, that were on this team, you got prosecutors, public defenders, mental health providers. You've got, I mean, it is incredible. You've got law enforcement. And as I said, the one thing we agreed on, from all of our different backgrounds, was what we had wasn't working. So let's get something in place that has a better chance of working. And what drug court does that other courts don't do, see, it's like a GPS. Got this from Anna Powers. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. This is her phrase. The drug courts are like a GPS to help that person on their road, their journey to recovery. And it's a heck of a lot better than a map. I can give somebody a map and say, okay, figure it out. But isn't it much nicer when you're in the car and says, in 500 feet, turn right on Church Street. Hey, I think I can do that. That's what sets this apart, see. We're a GPS. We have this team of people that care and will help and say, hey, you need to turn here, or you need to turn back, get back on the path. You strayed, let's get back with the program, get back with it. And that's what makes it different. That's what makes it different. So we have this GPS, and with the peer, Carl, we don't have somebody just sitting across the table, not sitting in front of somebody. We have them sitting beside them, somebody that's been there. So it's not just the judge with the robe. It's a person who's been and walked a mile in your shoes, that's there beside you, not in front of you, beside you on this journey, getting you where you want to go. That's what is different about this court. We're dealing with trying to solve problems, not say who wins and loses in a case. Let's solve a problem. Let's deal with the root of the problem. Why are we here? We're here because somebody is stealing. Well, why are they stealing? Because they're trying to support a habit. Well, let's deal with the underlying problem. Well, then guess what? They're going to steal again if they still have the habit. Let's make some sense in dealing with these, okay? So, you know as well as I do, that recovery is not a straight line, is it? If it was, you wouldn't need the GPS. You just go from point A to point B. The detours, you miss a turn, you get lost, got to get back on the path. So that's what we're all about here. And it's interesting, I could tell when somebody was getting it in drug court, and I'm sure Judge Watson has had a similar experience. I could tell there comes a point where you have and let's face it, you guys doubted this, when you came aboard, said, what, this old dude is saying he's here to help me. He's a judge and he's here to help me. And this is not your first rodeo. It was not your first rodeo with a judge. And I'm sure that the previous judges you didn't go away with a warm and fuzzy feeling about. And then having a judge saying, hey, there's an alternative. I want to help you. I want to make your life better. You had no reason to believe us, but you took a chance on us. And I'm glad you did, because you obviously believed enough, or maybe you're just curious. But either way, we're glad you took the leap of faith and went this road, because that's what it's all about. But I could tell when somebody was turning the corner, because when we start out, we have reports from the probation officer. Lydia would come and let us know, well, how's Marvin doing this since we saw her last? How's Wesley doing? How's Jeremiah doing? And she'd tell us what they were doing well, and maybe where they may have stumbled and may not have made all their check-ins, or maybe tested positive for using again, or something like that. And at the beginning of the program, when I would give the person an opportunity to talk, what would I hear? Excuses. It wasn't me. It was it was always somebody else's fault. It wasn't my. I knew they were getting it when they stopped making excuses and saying, my bad, that's on me, I own it. That's on me, Judge. I should have done it. That's on me. That was the first light where I said, this person has a chance. They're getting it. They're getting it. They're taking responsibility. They really do want to make a change. And that was kind of like the GPS recalculating. You know, so, all right, don't you hate that when they do that? That means you screwed up. So they're recalculating. They got to get you back on the right line, but we're recalculating. We're going to get you back, and that's what you've done. That's what you've done. So they started taking ownership, owning those things. The second thing was why you're doing this. And I mean, I think if we're honest with each other, chances are the main motivating factor for participating in drug court to begin with was to avoid jail time. You faced in jail time, it's a certain thing, probation violations, you know, most of them are people have done what they are accused of doing, and there's not a whole lot of defense, even with a good defense lawyer like Mr. Boone and the public defender's office and others, there's only so much they can do. So we're just talking about how much time, not really whether you're going to do time or not, right, Aaron? Yes. Thank you. Validating that. So, why are you doing this? The initial idea is I'm doing it to avoid jail time, to avoid those consequences. But that's not where the people end up. By the time they've been in the program, I want to brief you, because I asked them to just write down, in your own word, write down why you're doing this. And I do it toward the end of the program, after they've been in a while. And then I saved one of them. Still have it. This is not made up. This is one of the things that one of our previous participants wrote to me on why they were in drug court. This is what he says. The reason I'm in this program is not just to stay out of jail. The main reason is to stay clean and have a fresh start on life, to be a better person, son, and stay in good health. I want to stay drug-free so I can find myself and enjoy life, my family, and friends again. Thank you for this opportunity. Couldn't say it better. That's what we do. That's what you have done, gentlemen. So, Marvin, Leslie, and Jeremiah, God bless you. I wish you well on your journey. Gentlemen, thank you for what you do to fund these projects. You can put a face on them now. When you go back to Richmond and Washington, you've seen what this can do and how it changes lives. It's worth it. Thank y'all.
Judge Burnett, thank you so much. Kind of let you know where we stand as a drug court now. You know, we have the 5 graduates, but drug court goes on. We right now have 19 participants. We have 2 of our current participants who volunteered to come here and help set up and work, and I'd like to introduce them to you. Stanley and Corey sitting back there, thank you so much for being here. And I don't think it'll be too much longer till you're sitting on the front row, and I look forward to that day. And Stanley, I don't want to let this slide. Tell you a quick story about Stanley. We had celebrated a milestone of one of our drug court participants just yesterday. And when she went back to her seat, I just saw Stanley just slyly go over and give her a fist bump. And Stanley is one of the leaders of our drug court now. He encourages the participants, he talks with them, and it doesn't go unrecognized. And so appreciate it. And Corey is, you know, wasn't sure about Corey when he started, but he is doing fantastic. So I look forward to the day that both of you graduate. At this point, I want to ask Melissa Lucy to come on up. And what we're going to do, we're going to call each of the graduates forward, and then you don't have to say anything, but if you'd like to say a few words, you are more than welcome to. Wesley, if you could come forward, please. Let me say just a quick word about Wesley. When Judge Burnett talked about that period of time in drug court when you come in and you give excuses, Wesley looked over at me and gave me a big smile. And Wesley was one of those ones you saw when it clicked. And once it clicked, he never turned back.
We'll do that.
Okay. So, Wesley, it is my privilege and my honor to present you with this certificate of graduation from the Lynchburg Drug Court. It's been a pleasure. And Melissa.
My honor to present this to you, just a little token of all the hard work that you did.
And here's the gift from Aaron Howard. I'll see you at the gym. I'll see you at the gym.
Yes, I'd like to say something. You know, it was a struggle for me at first. You know, I mean, I was laughing when the judge said something. You know, when he read something, I thought he was talking about me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was laughing. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a struggle for me through the first cycle. You know, I didn't know what was going to happen at the end. You know, Judge Washington said try. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to try at first. You know. I still wanted to hang out in the streets and stuff, you know what I'm saying? But I had a team, you know. I was sitting there laughing, you know what I'm saying? When I first started being clean, you know, I went to Mr. Bader's office, right? That's when I was doing the behavior analysis thing, you know. I had to go home and look at myself. And I thought about the song Michael Jackson said, "The Man in the Mirror." I went to Mr. Bader's office one day, and she said, "Wesley, sit down." I said, "Oh, Lord." I thought I had done something wrong, right? And then she says, "You're doing good." So then I went to Miss Turner's office, and I had to do a urine sample. She said, "Look at this cover right here." I said, "Oh, Lord." So I went to see Carl. I told Carl, I said, "I'd be Miss Bailey and call Miss Turner and try to set me up too." But since I'd done the behaviors analysis thing, I had to look at myself, you know what I'm saying? And from that day forward, I made a big change in my life, you know what I'm saying? I had to look at myself. But since then, and when I first done the little graduation thing, Miss Lee told me something. Miss Lee said, "You can change." Since then, now I run the Oxford House. I run the Oxford House on 921. I became a chapter chair of 6 Oxford houses here in Lynchburg. Wow. Yeah. I'm getting ready to go to a conference next week in Richmond. I'm going to one the week after that in South Carolina. In September, I'm gonna be going to Seattle to a conference. Yeah.
Look at that.
I gave a picnic for all 6 houses last Saturday, for all the houses to come together. So the program has really changed my life, you know what I'm saying? And I was thinking, you know what I'm saying, God's been good to me. I'm glad that my mom was turning 82 in April. I gave her a big birthday party. I was just so glad, you know what I'm saying, to see me change my life, you know? Like I said, you know what I'm saying, this program has really, really changed my life. And I was sitting there thinking, you know what I'm saying, I got the charge, you know. Judge Washington gave me a year in jail for driving. And he was the same person that accepted me into the program. And because of this man, this man that wanted to change my life, him and I call them my teachers, you know what I mean? That's how my life changed. Now I can smile. When I first got into the program, people said, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm going to school." I never told nobody what I was doing, you know what I'm saying? Nobody never knew but my mom, you know what I'm saying? My mom was my backbone. And I love her to death, you know what I'm saying? She called me this morning, she said, "You will do good." You know what I mean? She said, "You got it right there?" I said, "No, I ain't got it right now, that's in my head," you know what I'm saying? And I said, I owe it all to my teachers, you know what I'm saying? And for the behavior analysis thing, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I think everybody should do one of those. That way you have to look at yourself. Ever was in a program, only reason I done that, when they caught, Ms. Bailey said, "Positive, negative, negative, negative." I said, "Oh, Lord, I'm going to jail." But whoever came with that paper to give me, I am very thankful for that. I went home looking, I said, man, I kept looking, where was you at? Who was you with? What the consequences? Man, I kept looking at the paper, and so I took it back to Mr. Bailiff. Mr. Bailiff said, you see what you're doing? So when I took it to her, me and her discussed it, and from that day forward, it changed my life. And I've been on the straight and narrow, and I've been on the straight and narrow since then, you know what I'm saying? God has really been looking out for me, you know what I mean? Thank you.
I didn't know Wesley could talk. He for the longest time in drug court, he didn't say much. And then when he started talking, it was a revelation. We had him speak to the criminal part of the Lynchburg Bar Association. And I just sat back and I went, oh, there's your next TED Talk right there. Yeah. And you know, not only is he in recovery, but he's now leading. He's a leader in the field of recovery with his work with Oxford Houses. So, again, congratulations. Jeremiah, come forward, please. Quick word about Jeremiah. Most people, when they get into drug court, their trajectory is like this, you know, one step forward, two back until they. Jeremiah came to drug court determined that he was gonna kick his addiction. And I've never seen anyone from start to finish so dedicated to the process. His trajectory was like that. And he was an inspiration for everyone in the drug court. And so, Jeremiah, it is my pleasure, my honor to present you with this certificate of graduation.
I want to thank everybody, and I'm glad that I've made it here and got a good job. And where I was, you know, a few months or years back, I'm not that person anymore. So I'm glad to be doing good, be on the right track, and I appreciate every single one of you that helped me and gave me hope again. So thank you.
And now, last but not least, Marvin, if you could come forward. When I talk about trajectories, Marvin was one of these. And early on, I had real concerns about Marvin, but as Judge Burnett said, there comes a time where you see, and once it clicked for Marvin, it clicked. And his trajectory all of a sudden became a straight line. And it was one of the most impressive things I saw. It was the first time I had seen that. And I could not believe what I was watching. He became a new person. And we now use Marvin as a reference. And I think Rhonda and I both separately today told Marvin, you know, we still talk about you a lot. So Marvin, it is my pleasure to see you graduate, and it's my honor to present you.
Well, I'm gonna start off by saying it was a rough road. It really was rough. I didn't think I was make it. I'm very blessed to make it. I just turned 65 years old. By the grace of God, I'm here today. Yes. When I first got into trouble, I went to my attorney, Mr. Boone, and I told him, I said, man, I've been getting in trouble all my life. I said, going back to jail is not gonna help me. I said, I need some help, man. I need help. And he said, Marvin, I'm gonna see what I can do for you. I didn't wait on him. I took the initiative on my own and went to a treatment center in Salem, and I did a 30-day program. And from then on, I got into the drug court. And from then on, I've been doing pretty good. I may not be all I want to be, but I'm better than I used to be. So I'm just I'm just gonna leave it at, I'm gonna leave it at that, and I thank the drug court for supporting me and being there for me, because other than that, I don't think I would make it. And I know that because I started off doing drugs when I was in my 30s, and like I said, I'm 65 years old now. And a lot of my friends today is dead and gone. And I'm very blessed to be standing here today. So I want to thank you all for all the support that y'all gave me. And even though I know I gave you a hard time, Judge, but you stuck by me and helped me see it through. And I just want to thank you all.
All right, I don't want to overlook the two graduates who couldn't be here, Kimani Moore and Jaquan Carter. They could not be here, but I don't want to overlook the hard work and the success that they had. And Kimani worked very hard, and Jaquan worked very hard. And so they will be given a copy of their certificate and their gifts at a later date, but I didn't want to overlook them. Now, just in closing, it's been touched on by a couple people, but recovery is a long-term endeavor. And so just because you've graduated from drug court, the work continues. And I'm pleased to tell you that we've got Carl Mack and Brian Mead have been working, and Brian I haven't introduced yet, but Brian is with Roads to Recovery. And they have been working to create an alumni program for alumni of the drug court. That way you will have fellowship, you remain connected with people who helped you in your recovery, and it's for a way, so we don't lose touch with you. I want to see how you thrive in life. And so, Carl, you have some invitations?
Heard it said quite a few times that, this is a journey that you all are on. We want to continue to be on that journey with you all, so I have some official invitations for you all to be a part of the alumni program. A couple of you have been meeting with us at the gym on Saturdays, which is the first step that we have been doing sort of organically, because it's hard to get funded a program for aftercare for a drug court program, but we're working on it. We're not giving up. We believe in this. We know that you all will continue to need to have some supports and some pro-social activities. There's a thriving addictive world out there. We need a thriving recovery community. So we're going to try to continue to work and make that happen. But I have some official invitations for you all, because I want to make it clear that you all are invited. And can I give you that marks? And we want to see you all, start connecting, because what I have started doing, for the people who are coming in now, is at the very beginning, I want you all to start, I want those newer members to start looking at what their transition is going to look like at the end when they graduate. I did not have that piece in place when I met with you all, but I'm attacking that early. And so this is what your transition is happening now. And so I want you all to remain connected, because that's what your recovery is going to bring out. So I'm congratulating you at the same time. I'm so proud of all the efforts that I had the opportunity to go through with you all. Boy, did I see some of that. Did I see some things? But I'm so proud of you. Yeah, congratulations.
One more thing, I introduced Stanley and Corey as current participants. I didn't see Melissa. And so, Melissa, I didn't mean to overlook you. Melissa is another participant who is doing great, and I look forward to the day that you're sitting on the front row. All right, so that concludes the graduation ceremony. We are having a reception with some treats upstairs. If you don't know where to go, just follow the crowd. All right?